Over the last 2 years of being a van-dwelling nomad, I've learned a lot of important lessons the hard way. So we're stuck 40 kilometers up this mountain. But before I tell you about those, let me show you how I got here. My partner and I left our home in Nelson, British Columbia in late December to surprise his family in Manitoba for Christmas.
Oh really? My God!
Our presence is your present.
You know what?
Merry Christmas!
No. No. You know what?
Joyeux Noël! Mais comment ça se fait que t'es là, toi?
Parce que c'est Noël.
C'est Noël?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
It's a proper decade Christmas. Now it's the new year, and we're flying back to Calgary to retrieve his school bus. Our first stop was in Calgary, checking out decommissioned ambulances that we want to invest in together once we sell our own campers. Lots of storage, eh?
Look, this is what's really cool. So there's like sliding doors.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's fucking cold. But there's a way where all of this opens up somehow. Oh yeah, look.
Oh, wow. Lots of storage.
There's like a timer here for or like the actual time to tell the hour of death. The time of death.
What do you think? Enough space for the two of us?
Two of us? Oh yeah. This is locked. This is medication cabinet. It's interesting. Oh, so this goes to the actual outdoor storage.
Oh.
It's like a double cabinet.
Oh.
Look. And it has a Webasto heater too. For like the actual cab. Oh, that's cool.
Shit! Wow.
I wonder if that's a diesel heater or not. Oh, look at this. Nice locker.
Oh shit.
Boot storage.
Yeah, we both like the fact that there's a lot of built-in storage and like this separate wall separating the cab. So you can still enter from the inside, but when we're in home mode, we have a lot of privacy and it'd be harder to, break in and such. Wow, ooh, look at that front.
Just like a strobe light. Yeah, this is nice, eh? Oh, and a fucking,
radio.
Surround something. And the keys are in there too, eh? Oh.
I think what we'll do is we'll take out a lot of these extra seats that we don't need. This part will probably be for our fridge and have a table on top.
We would keep this.
Yeah, we can keep that one because it's just against the wall.
But take out all these ones.
Take out this one, take out this one. The bed would be a bit tricky.
Well, see, there's some other ones with different configurations, I think.
Even has a bunch of outdoor storage.
Look at that, boot storage. Put skis and shit there.
Nice. And there's a lot of these different kind of storage built into the outside. Look at that. But this whole experience is definitely reminding me of when I first bought my camper van 2 years ago. It was a 1995 Dodge Ram 1500 van with a high roof. And the very first lesson that I learned the hard way was right after I purchased the vehicle. Do your mechanical due diligence, because I didn't do that. I valued more of just having a camper that looked good and that I could live in and that I wouldn't have to renovate because I didn't really have the means or the time to do that. I just wanted to get in and go. But because of that, I let some things slide. I trusted the seller when he said that, oh yeah, it's been mechanically inspected, it's all good, it's ready to go. Granted, this vehicle was like 2 hours away from where I lived and there was no plates, so we had no way of doing a test drive and like bringing it over, and I just wanted it so badly, so I just like kind of trusted him, paid $5,000 for it. But immediately afterwards I had to pay double that amount like basically another $5,000 on top of it just to do mechanical repairs. Like there was transmission issues, they had to be rebuilt. Since then I've had electrical issues, there was stuff with like the ball socket, random things, tires, all that blah blah blah. So that vehicle has definitely been a money pit for me, but luckily this time my boyfriend is a mechanic, so we're gonna make sure that the vehicle is in tip-top shape and only needs minor things, because ain't nobody got time to spend double the amount of money just to fix a broken vehicle.
So we've been stopped for the last 20 minutes because of construction, and this line is getting so huge. So I thought I'd take this opportunity with us being stopped here to talk about another tough lesson that I learned on the road, and that is about having a why beyond just traveling. You have to have a purpose, especially when you start, being on the road for more than 3 months and upwards of a year plus. After a while, no matter where you go, it almost feels like it starts blending together. Some people say the first 3 countries you visit are so amazing, but after that, it kind of all blurs together. And that can really start happening if you don't have a bigger reason as to why you're out here, whether that's to connect with yourself, connect with others, understand the world, create something beautiful, whatever it is. You can't just travel for the sake of traveling, because you get into incidences where things don't go as planned, or you're tired or inconvenienced, and things get tough on the road. And if you don't have a greater why, it's harder to bear those kinds of situations as well. And after a while, they just kind of get to you. So it's the 3rd night of a road trip, and we are finally sleeping in the van for the first time. First in Calgary, we had my friend's place that we could crash at, and then yesterday we got a hostel in Canmore. But now we're in Radium Hot Springs, and we're like, let's do the winter thing. Let's do the winter sleeping thing. And being in a school bus is definitely not ideal, especially one without a furnace or heating source or fireplace or any of that kind of stuff, because of all the windows that are in this car. It makes it really drafty and it can't hold in heat for shit. But between both of our body heats and these 8 blankets, I think we'll survive the night. But this whole thing is definitely making me remember another hard lesson that I've learned, and that has to do with knowing what your vehicle can handle. Not only what environments is the most comfortable to be in, but also the drivability of your vehicle. My van is very low-lying, rear-wheel drive. It's heavy, so it doesn't really do good on sandy banks or probably a lot of the logging roads that I've brought it down, and because of that, it's definitely gotten busted up over the years. So I definitely encourage everyone to go out there and figure out for yourself what your car can handle, what you're comfortable with navigating. But when in doubt, go slow, because things start to break when you don't understand the limits.
Hey Kat, how was your sleep last night?
Cold, but usually Cody doesn't like me cuddling him all night because he gets hot really quickly, but it was so cold that we got to cuddle all night, so it was worth it for that. But now let's spend the day at the hot springs.
So we're hot spring hopping today, and this is the very first one we got to this morning. It's technically Fairmont Hot Springs, but you have to be a guest in order to use the established hot springs. However, there is an overflow of water that they treat from the hot springs and release back into the nature, and it creates this steaming waterfall
waterfall with these cascade pools, and this is absolutely free. And it looks like we also have it to ourselves this morning.
In addition to having a greater purpose, having a daily routine is also extremely important on the road. Of course, it's a lot trickier to maintain since your days on the road are always different and oftentimes unplanned. But having consistency, at least in a morning and evening routine, is crucial in order to keep you from feeling irritated, disconnected, and overall unbalanced, especially in the long run. Part of your routine should also consist of keeping your space clean, which is one of the constant struggles of living on the road, but super important since it's kind of a reflection of your mental health. And that's my camper buried in snow.
Hey! So we're back at home from our trip, and the final lesson that I want to tell you guys that we learned the hard way is about how dealing with government bureaucracy is kind of an even bigger bitch when you're on the road. And we both have stories to share about this. So Cody, why don't you start with yours? What have you been dealing with?
So because I'm from Manitoba, Canada, when I made the permanent move to British Columbia, I had to get all of my paperwork changed. Everything from my driver's license to my health insurance. That's easier said than done. Theoretically, changing all of this information is pretty straightforward. You just go to your local insurance and you fill out a couple of documents and you're all done. However, the bureaucracy system in Canada is not made for digital nomads, meaning you need to have a permanent physical address to fill out any form of paperwork, regardless of what it is. Now, at the time while I was getting my health card, I didn't have a physical address. Therefore, it was impossible for me to even get a new card, even though that I already had a British Columbia driver's license and I was a resident of the province. So I had to wait a numerous amount of months before I would be able to even get my card. So we had to settle down in Nelson before I would even be able to reapply for my card, so they would resend me a new card.
Yeah, and honestly, that there's way more to the story as well, and that kind of explains like part of the reason why we settled down halfway through the year, mostly just because our vans aren't equipped to deal with a Canadian winter. So to add to his story, it basically took 6 months to actually get the card, and it got lost in the mail, and we tried to get it sent to one of our friends' addresses in Victoria because I'm very close with them and I lived there last winter, but the office was giving us shit about that too, so it was overall a very unpleasant experience. But he at least has the documents. I, on the other hand, don't. So I applied for the health insurance and that was really easy for me, but now my Ontario driver's license is expired and I can't get a BC one because I'm kind of in this other mess with the provincial or with the federal government because I legally changed my last name, so I've had to update all of my identity documents, and it's taken over a year for them to process my citizenship card and change the name. I still haven't gotten it back, even though I sent in the documents in November of 2020. At that time, they said it would only take 5 months to process everything and give me the new stuff. Because of COVID, it's now been pushed back to 15 months. So because I don't have that citizenship card, I technically don't have another primary document that I can give at the DMV to get a new driver's license. I have my old Ontario driver's license with my new last name, and I have my passport with my old last name, but I also have my secondary certificate of the legal name change to show, that was my old name, this is my new name, this is still a valid document chain. But they were just giving me such a hard time. So I'm not allowed to drive right now because one form of government is very jam-packed and slow, and then the other form of government is just very rigid with their requirements for documents, even though it's a completely valid document chain. So I'm kind of stuck in limbo, and you know, I personally have not forgotten how to drive. My driving experience and capabilities have not expired, but in the eyes of the law, I technically am not allowed to drive, and that's very frustrating as a nomad and as someone who wants their independence. I mean, I'm not going to say I'm never going to drive. Like, I am not, obviously, because I can't, but I'm not going to stop myself from doing what I'm entitled to do just because of this dumb bureaucratic system. But you know, as a nomad, those are the kinds of tricky situations that you're put in, and you have to decide whether you're going to abide by the rules as strictly as they want you to, or whether you're going to ride the line between what is legal and / allowed and what is not, and risk dealing with the consequences if you get caught, even if you're not doing anything inherently nefarious, just because, you know, you're not following the system as it's built up. But it's difficult to do so when you are a nomad and you don't really follow the lifestyle of everyone else who this system was originally built for. So that short, passionate ramble is how I'm going to end this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!